Alrighty, it looks like we're live, and we are. Hey, welcome to the third episode of the Color Up Club podcast, where we've got a crisis. Apparently, Jeremy has discovered some data. Is craps a dying game? Are we all wasting our time? We'll find out and about that and a whole bunch more in just a little bit.
Welcome to the Color Up Podcast. Whether you're a seasoned player or a beginner eager to step up to the table, this is your lucky podcast that's all about the thrill and strategy of the casino world. I'm your host, Jeremy. With me is Jim the Professor. Let's get rolling.
Well, Jim, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm pretty good. I had a week of cruising this past week, and so I got to do a little gambling.
Would that be on another Royal Caribbean ship?
It would be another free cruise.
Free cruise? And
Yes,
did you use any of our buddy Brian's Holy Roller strategies?
Yeah, of course. I mean, okay, let me just start off by saying overall a lovely cruise, but I did lose money. So I think I prepaid for a cruise. The dice just did not cooperate. I tried the big hedging strategy, and it was just the dice would find that certain way where it'd get you for $30-$40, right? So 10 players doing that, you're down $400, right? And then I tried an all light side small ball strategy, which is about $40 a shooter, and I lost no one could roll past 3 times, and then I got the dice, of course, had a big roll and won like 600, but that $200 profit's not making up for all my other losses. So overall, I mean, I only bring like $1,000 on these cruises because if you lose more than that, it doesn't make sense. Just buy a cruise, right? But I lost a substantial chunk of that money for this last cruise, and I call it, I guess, as Brian likes to say, prepaid for my next cruise. But, I did win another free cruise with some great options. And then, of course, I think from my first one, I still have like a dozen offers. I've, booked a couple, but there's so many offers. I don't know. I don't have time to take all these cruises. I just let them go by the wayside.
No. But you had good quality family time, and that's what makes a big difference.
That was part of the problem, is because my adult children came with their significant others, and I really only played kind of like 3 nights in a short amount of time. So I felt like, because I had to cram it in and play a lot more aggressive than I'm used to. And if the dice aren't cooperating and you're being aggressive, you tend to lose money quicker. So it's just how it went.
That's very true. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've got a lot on our plate, and being an expert YouTube creator, you created a very intriguing tile cover for this episode. And is the game dying? And you've got some data to share with everybody. But before we get into all that, we're going to get into our news.
Yeah, we're going to do a couple news articles, get people caught up on some things, and then we'll get into that big topic of, is it dying? And it's pretty interesting, and then we'll also get into a little bit of the marketing side of it. What are casinos doing to keep this game alive, and what part do we play in that? And so we'll get to that.
Absolutely.
So what do we got in the news?
Well, I was going to say, at the end, don't forget, we're going to try to do a little bit better job on our comments, and we're going to bring back.
We'll stick around. We're probably going to kind of close out the podcast, but stick around. We're going to go through comments, answer questions, kind of like an after show, if you will, and get as many, because, man, we got so many great people in here, and they're already, all kinds of comments flashing through, and it's just difficult to go through the topics and then do the comments and everything like that. We don't have a producer. It's just me and Jim trying to pull this off. So,
and really, if it's just me and you, it's pretty much just you.
Well, I don't know about that, but it will definitely give us a better opportunity to focus on comments and get some of your questions answered. But just know that we're going to kind of do that at the end of the show here.
All righty. So let's get to that news, right? All right. Our big story number 1 will be, Jeremy, there's been actually some cheating in Las Vegas, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's shocking, right?
Yes.
although for me, a person like me, they frighten me enough. Like, I wouldn't do any cheating. In the old days, the gangsters would take you in the back room and break your hands and fingers, right?
Yes.
But now it's a pretty big deal. I know you get added to the mythical black book, and you're not going to be gaming again, especially with facial recognition, all this stuff. But so what
it's
happened
pretty
here with
nice.
this
So,
situation?
so this lady right here, and if I'm mispronouncing her name, I apologize to Miss Yuck Wong.
Yeah,
She allegedly conspired with a casino dealer with whom she was in a relationship on Facebook with. And, if you're in a relationship on Facebook, it's really not that much of a relationship. But anyway, leading to several allegations of cheating.
hmm
And she was faces 5 counts of gambling game and 1 charge of cheating on a gambling game and 1 charge of attempting to conspire to cheat a gambling game, records say.
right.
But
And
she
these
was
are all felonies, so I don't know what kind of. I mean, that's jail time. I think she's looking at. So
Yeah, it's and you know how she got, if you read the article in there, you'll see how she got picked up. She was driving and they stopped her for expired registration tags or something,
that's how they
and
get
they
everybody, isn't it? It's like
and what do you mean I
the
have a
blinkers
warrant?
out. Yeah,
What?
exactly.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So got her
Who, me?
for who, me, exactly. Got her for that, and there was a warrant, and then they took her on in, and that where she was cheating was this game called I Love Suits Poker,
No,
and
I've
I
never
did
heard of this game.
never heard of it
No,
either.
apparently
Went
it's at Mandalay Bay. This is at Mandalay
Yes.
Bay.
So it's a nice big boy MGM property. And basically, what it is, based on what I Googled, and you can find a lot out through Googling nowadays, Jeremy. I Googled the game, and you try to get more suited cards than the dealer. So I guess it's kind of like a flush thing. And if you do, you win. And the guy that she was in a relationship was kind of paying out when she should have been losing. She was
Right.
hiding cards, if you read it, behind certain cards. So when she laid them
Right.
down for the cameras,
That's what it sounded
yeah,
like. So, like, if she had, I'm assuming it's 5 card because it's poker, but I mean, maybe it could have been more cards. But so if she had 5 cards and one wasn't part of the suit, she would kind of bury it. And so it would show, like 4 hearts. And then, he would just pay her off, even though she had a losing hand. And yeah, working in cahoots there.
oh yeah, and it says in one hand Wong profited hundreds of dollars, though she lost. Agents said it was
Yeah.
unclear from court documents how much the investigators alleged she took, but at least on one hand it was hundreds of dollars. So if you don't think the casino cares about $100 or a few $100, they do.
Right. Yeah.
They
I would
do.
imagine with a scheme like that, like you'd want to get in and get out as quick as possible. So you would be betting like $500,000 per hand. And I mean, you're going to lose and get paid anyway. Just collect a couple hands and get out. I don't know. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
they didn't arrest her on the scene. They arrested her later whenever she got pulled over. So she must have walked with money, and apparently they thought she got away with it, right?
Well, I think she got charged, or the warrant was issued,
Oh,
and
that's right. The
then
article did say they
yeah,
were held for gaming to
held.
get there, and then they were
That's right.
released, and she had a warrant,
Right.
and then they picked her up later. Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
But it does say in all her hands she fraudulently concealed a fake flush or faulty flush.
Yeah,
So yeah.
the eye in the sky. They're always watching.
Lots of
Mm.
cameras at a casino, but don't you dare get your camera out at a craps table or
Yeah,
anything else.
exactly.
You are
Right.
done.
You can't show what they're doing against you, but
Yeah.
they're human. They're making mistakes too, and sometimes they're in your favor and sometimes not. So I don't know if it's cheating necessarily, but I mean, I guess they could be. Some people are worried about dealers cheating them.
Yes, but
Yeah.
her court
It
date's coming
happens.
up
It
on
happens.
January.
My son's a dealer, and he mentioned to me a story just recently. A guy that he knew, he was dealing roulette, and his girlfriend was at the table, and he was trying to help her, and eventually he started helping her by moving the bets for her, and they of course fired him pretty quickly, but they have to because they're responsible for that. They don't want to lose their gaming license because of this guy's helping their girlfriend win some money. So I know when I go to the casino, it's like, hey, I can't deal to you. Your family or friends is kind of like their policy. You shouldn't be dealing to people. So that's kind
Absolutely.
of the safeguard in place. But I mean, obviously, not always, right? Especially with Facebook relationships.
Oh yeah, yeah. Apparently, for some people they work. So I don't know. but not for most, I don't think. Our story number 2, I think, is going to be the 3 gamblers lose $24 million total at the casino. 3 people, Jeremy, lost $24 million. Is that a
Now, to me,
problem?
this sounds like a good thing. Like, isn't that what
Yeah,
Vegas wants? They want people to lose a lot of money, but there's a little more to the story, I guess.
I think there's a lot more to this story. It
Okay.
says 3 visitors lost a total of $24 million at the Resorts World over just a few years, and it says one of the gamblers was identified as this guy Damien LaForbes. He lost about 12.3 to 50 visits, and he probably had a lot of nice rooms too, by the way.
Yeah,
The
probably
four
comped pretty well if you're losing
probably
12
comped,
million.
yeah, yeah. And then in addition, it says Ryan, I don't even know how you say that, Boyajian, who appears on Real Housewives TV show, lost 3.7, and Boyajian went to the casino 21 times. The
Chump
third
change,
gambler, yeah,
3.7.
exactly. Third one was identified as Matt Boyer, California-based bookmaker, reportedly visited Resort World 32 times, losing 7.9 and 22
Now,
and
this is the
23.
guy who's been kind of linked with that Dodgers baseball player,
The Dodgers
like betting on
baseball
sports, and
player,
supposedly it was his translator, but
well,
it was through this
yes,
guy. And
the translators did it all on himself, according to the
Mhm.
player. He didn't know
Mhm.
anything about it. So he was embezzling and now apparently gambling. So what's wrong with that is it's not just that, the casinos say, hey, great, we lost money. But what they're doing is they're turning the bad money into good money by turning it into chips. And then when they lose so much money, then they say, oh, well, I lost so much money. I'm just cashing out with several hundred thousand or tens of thousands of dollars or whatever they're doing. And they're
Right, they're
trying to,
laundering
yeah,
a certain amount of money through there.
yeah. And it goes
Mhm.
back to the Otani guy for the Dodgers who just signed the big contract over there. But yeah, it's, you would think, they'd be cool with losing money, but you win too much, you lose too much, you get on the radar. You need to
Yeah,
be.
you get on. No, I mean, these Vegas people, they want you in trouble for no matter what. They're like, "Hey, you lost too much money. There's something fishy going on." Or if we
Yes.
win too much, we can't win as players. It's
Yes.
definitely stacked against us.
It is against it.
Yeah, I
So
know a
that's
lot
the
of
second one.
players bring up that question about, for instance, craps. There really isn't a way like which actually would probably be a story for us next week because they're talking about it now. But like a slot machine win $1,200 or more, you have to get a hand pay, and then you fill out a tax form, and it's taxable income at that point. Well, they're talking about raising that rate because that was set, I don't know, in the 60s, and with inflation and whatever, like $1,200 isn't anything anymore. So that
Tank
aside,
of gas. Tank of gas.
yeah, craps doesn't have that situation because you have to win 1,200, but it has to be on a bet that also pays 300 to 1. And that doesn't exist on the craps table. Now, it used to with a fire bet, there was a certain fire bet, but even that one, I believe in all situations, they've changed to pay to 299 to 1 just so they could avoid that tax process. So
Hmm.
essentially, craps is a tax free game, although you are supposed to self report any winnings. But that being said, I don't know how many people do that because that's kind of crazy. Hey, I won 4,000. Please take 50% of it,
Yeah.
40% of it, whatever. So that doesn't happen all that. But if you do cash out your chips for 10,000 or more, in some casinos it's actually less, but I think it's required by law that it's 10,000. They'll make you fill out a form with your name and stuff like that. And what that is not for taxing purposes, but they are looking for this situation of like laundering money.
Okay.
And that's really the primary reason why they're collecting your information whenever you're cashing in chips of 10,000 or more.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
interesting. It doesn't say what all the different games they played,
No, it
does it?
doesn't get into too much, but I would love to hear all the details of that. I know some people, there's so much bad advice online too, because people are like, hey, to avoid that, because no one wants to give their information or their name. They're like, just deposit like $2,000 in chips a day for like 5 days. But
Hmm.
that is illegal in and of itself, and it's called structuring. So please, if you hear that advice or if that's an idea for you, please do not structure. It's called structuring your bets. Do not do that. Just cash in all your money. Don't worry about it. You're not going to be reported for taxes as long as you're not laundering money, you're going to be okay. It's not a big deal, but yeah, please do not structure and because that'll put you on the radar too. Of like, this guy every day is cashing 2,000 in chips. What's he up to? So, and then they can get you for, that as a felony structuring. So yeah, a lot of interest. More than maybe you wanted to hear.
No. I thought it was good. So our next one is Jeremy. Some people are calling this a boring story.
Yeah, this is a boring story.
It's a boring story. Excuse the pun. Hi, I'll be here all week now. This one here goes back to the Elon Musk guy, the Musk man.
This guy's involved in everything.
He is incredible. But they opened up a new tunnel, and it's running back and forth from the convention center to Resort World, I think it is, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a Tesla tunnel, for those of you who don't know. And Elon's got big plans, and this one here is the next one just reached the new Virgin hotels, which I don't know anything about it. I think you got some.
Well, the Virgin Hotel is like, they can't get anyone to go there. It used to be the Hard Rock. It's kind of like a block in, kind of behind MGM Grand.
Okay.
And as a rebranded Virgin, it just has done terrible, and no one goes there. And I think they're talking about a tribal casino taking them or retaking them back over or whatever, but it's kind of a mess there. But the Boring Company, which is another Tesla company, and he wants to do this in cities all over the world, but he's doing this in Vegas, obviously, digging these tunnels, and then he just happens to throw his other company, these Tesla cars, in there. And so now they've reached the Virgin, and then they have plans in the next couple years to eventually get it to the airport, which should be a big deal because Las Vegas mass transit is not very good, and they do have like a railway on one side of the strip that goes from MGM to the Sahara, but it didn't ever make it to the airport, and that had to do with like the lobbyists with the taxi cab unions and whatever. But I don't know. Supposedly, these boring tunnels are eventually going to get to the airport, which will be a big deal.
And right now, it's free.
Yeah, that surprised me. But yeah, you could just hop in these Tesla cars and go down these tunnels, and it's at a couple locations. Although it did say once they get to UNLV, I guess that's their next branch, they're going to start charging for it. On the screen, I'll go ahead and show like a video for those who are on the YouTube as we kind of finish this topic. But yeah, right now, it's kind of like a taxi cab. You hop in a Tesla car and it self-drives through the tunnel, but they're changing that from what you told me, right?
Yeah, I think they are. I watched a couple, 3 videos as well on it, but eventually I saw one of the things that says there's going to be like this little, I saw it on Elon's page. There's like this, looks like a little subway kind of car that's a Tesla thing. And I think it's going to fit inside this, because to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because you're not going to be able to, with people going from the airport with luggage, you can't get, a few pieces of luggage and, 3 or 4 people. And if they have 2 suitcases and bags and stuff, it doesn't make
it's more like a train, almost like a Tesla train. Yeah. Because this seems super inefficient. I mean, like a 3-passenger car with, limited luggage. And although it looks kind of cool, you're going down a tunnel, kind of weird.
The colors are neat. Although I did have one of our Color Up Club members, Mr. Gorn, who's not, he said he's a firefighter, and he said he was at a fire trying to put one of these batteries out of a Tesla, and he says he's not getting in one.
No.
So, not in a tunnel.
I don't know.
This.
I mean, this is a long tunnel. If you're claustrophobic, it might be a deal. And I mean, sure, they must be some sort of testing. That's engineering stuff where I don't know. It just seems like tunnels cave in, right? And now he's boring underneath these cities, which are billions of tons and skyscrapers, and he just dirt. I guess you go down far enough and then reinforce it enough. I don't know, but leave it to those guys to do that kind of thing.
If he can send stuff to Mars and get up to the space station and back, and there's
maybe tunnels aren't such a big deal, right?
I think Elon's got a handle on it. That's just my my
He
two
seems to
cents there.
doing pretty well with his other ventures. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely this time in June. I'm definitely going to give it a try. I mean, while it's free, just why not? Just to see the experience.
I'm also down for the trip. Maybe we can get
Okay.
in the same
Maybe we'll
Tesla
ride in the
together.
same little Tesla car and see what
Yes,
happens.
exactly. And our third big story, Jeremy, deals with free parking. Resort World has eliminated all free parking. So now we're only down to 4 properties on the strip with free parking.
Yeah. Do you remember the 4? I know it used to be kind of because Resorts World is on that north end where, they say it's hard to get people down to that end. So I know the Sahara Resorts
Sahara
World,
was,
Wynn, Encore were all free. And I
yeah,
guess Wynn and Encore is still a couple hours free because they just they need every incentive they can to get people that area. Fountain Blues now down that area. But what are the
the
4
final
left?
4 are TI, Circus, Casino Royale, and the Sahara. Those are the only 4 now.
And Sahara is probably
parking.
going away, is what the article said, because they're investing a ton of money making a really fancy garage. So probably
High-tech garage. So that's not going to
next thing you know,
stay.
they'll be charging, and then it'll just be like, you could park down at the mall where Casino Quest is, I guess, and visit Casino Quest.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Because the mall's still free parking for now, as far
Yes.
as I know.
Yeah, you can still stay there. So
here in Reno, all the parking garages are still free. So I don't know if it's like Vegas is like just an extra little fee and just a little gut punch there, or is it really? I mean, I know garages are expensive and they're not income producing. They just sit there taking up valuable land space, but people park and they just hand over their money to you. So it seems like it's a pretty decent loss leader. I'm not sure why they have to give you the little extra, here's $18 an hour. Well, unless you're at a high enough tier, that you've proven that you've lost enough money to them, essentially. Hey, you lose enough money to us every year, we'll let you park for free.
Yeah, you prepaid your parking last trip.
Big time.
Exactly.
Just for the small fee of $50,000 a year in losses, you too can have free parking at all Caesar properties
on your own level too. Right by the door.
Yeah, with a little sign closer to the elevator. Treat you like royalty there.
Well, that's our 4 big stories for the week. So we are getting ready to transition to the big topic of the day. Jeremy,
is the game of craps dying? Do you have an opinion about this before I show you some of this data that I found?
I don't think it's dying. Although whenever I go to some casinos, they'll have multiple tables, but only 1 or 2 open. And I always get told it's a staffing issue. Everywhere, every casino I've been to, Mid-Atlantic, South, and Vegas. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm hearing that same excuse. I run a craps convention for my club members, and I'm calling around trying to get reserved tables, and they're like, "Love to, can't get enough staff, can't get staffing on these tables, at least for the dice games." So that's a bummer to hear. Well, let me show you some actual data here. This is a Las Vegas study, UNLV, and it breaks down how many, and I couldn't find anything. So there's so many casinos throughout the United States now, but I really could only find data that's good for the state of Nevada, which it really encompasses basically Vegas, which is the big one, Reno, Wendover, Nevada. That's pretty much it as far as what's in Nevada. So primarily all the tables are going to be there. But this breaks down units, which are essentially tables. They call them units, but they're tables. So down here at the bottom, we have 1985, there were 1,010 blackjack tables. In craps tables, there was 139. And then if you jump ahead to 2023, I don't know what that is. That's like 40 years later. We've actually increased in tables. We've got 174 craps tables, and blackjack's still about 1,078 tables. So we've picked up a couple more tables. The interesting thing is the revenue went from, and this doesn't show the last 3 zeros, but it went from 200 million a year $385 to last year it made 300. Well, I'm just going to round it up. $340 million in craps last year revenue. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, but those dollars were bigger in 85.
Yeah, there is some inflation in there, I guess. that is a good point. But if you look at it, even in today's dollars, 174 tables, 340 million. That's essentially $2 million per table. So if you could start a little business, it's a good little small business for 20 square feet.
Yeah, it's good. Dollar per square foot ratio if you were in retail. That would be very nice.
Yeah, let me jump and show you something else though that's not as good or promising. Well, this chart here shows, and sorry for those that are just listening, but I'll try to explain it. It really shows how big of a game Blackjack was back in the 80s. And I don't have data that go, the 50s, you see in the movies, supposedly craps was huge. I don't know, Jim. I wasn't around then. Can you give me?
No, Jeremy. I know the lighting is pretty good in here, and I know I look old, but I am not that old, sir.
Not
no idea.
To give me firsthand data from the 50s. But, so we've got back to 85.
Yes.
And Blackjack was the monster, which means, so this is units. So essentially, of all table games in Nevada, essentially 80% of them were Blackjack.
Wow.
And about, the other games are under 10%. The second biggest game was craps at a little over 10%. And we've held steady. We've been about 10% of the games until, 20, it declined slowly till about 2010. And now we've been slightly increasing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But craps is now in last place. The other games have now surpassed us as far as how many tables exist. So there's more Bach tables, there's more roulette tables, there's more blackjack, and then carnival games. There's, they add them all together. There are more of those now than craps tables. So we're kind of in last place as far as number of games go.
Well, boo.
Yeah.
That's no good. We don't like that.
Not really. And part of it is the money. So this is a chart here showing the revenue by game. So back in 85, Blackjack was 80% of the games, and it produced 50% of all the money they made off of table games.
Wow.
And as you can see, they have taken a turn, and Blackjack has fallen down quite a bit. Now they're under 30% of the revenue.
Mm-hmm.
So now while they're declining quite a bit, craps has declined even bigger. We used to be the number 2 game, and we made, we were only 10% of the tables, but we made 30% of all table game money, which is huge.
Right.
But now we're down to about 10%, which is about what the other games bring in. But there's one outlier, and that is Baccarat. And I don't know why, but they have grown from 10%, and now they're the biggest moneymaker. Over 40% of all table game revenue is Baccarat now.
And how much of a Baccarat player are you?
0. I've
Zero.
never played that game. I know how to play the game.
Okay.
Have you played this game?
No, I've watched it.
Yeah.
But
well,
I
there's
have not
3
played.
bets. You bet on banker or dealer.
Right.
Or you could bet on a tie. But I don't know how many people bet on ties. So and then the dealer deals to, it's kind of like 21. You go to 9, but they deal to 9, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And the higher, either the player's going to win or the banker. So you just put your bet down. Banker or player, you don't do anything. You don't make it a decision. The dealer deals out the cards and he goes, you win. Or he goes, you lose. That's it. That's the whole game.
Okay.
I don't know how it's so popular.
Well,
I know there is a difference. So there's like mini Bach, which is just that game as I described. And then there's like the big Baccarat table where, I don't know if you've seen in like a James Bond movie where they do let you touch the cards. And so a lot of people will bend the cards up. Or if you're at a higher enough table, like $100 limit, you can like destroy the cards. Or, some people put pencils and poke them through the cards. But it doesn't matter because you're just like slowly revealing whether you won or lost, but you don't get a decision, and you don't get to decide, hey, hit, stand. It's just, here's the cards you lost, and then you could tear up the cards, or here's the cards you won, you could tear up the cards. I don't know. I don't get the appeal in this game, but Hey, Vegas is loving it. It's now 40% of the money that
Yeah.
they earn.
Okay. Have you ever thought about color up Baccarat?
No, I mean, because how many videos am I going to make? Hey, you could bet the banker or the player. Which side would you, it's like roulette. Would you like the black or the red? You can't bet anything else. Would you like black or red, sir? Or let's bring it down to craps. You could bet pass line or don't pass. I mean,
Yeah.
the game would kind of get boring at that point. Like,
Yeah. But it's
that's all
very
you can bet. Like,
exciting. It's very exciting. A lot of people are obviously playing
apparently,
it.
I don't know what's going on, but it is a huge moneymaker.
Do you know anything
So
about the house edge, and are players more apt to win
it
money?
is a very low house edge game. It's in the 1%, I believe. So it's it's like equivalent to counting cards in blackjack, or betting pass line and odds. It's very low, 1% or less, I think. So in that aspect, it's a good game. The tie is not. I believe the tie is a significant. It's it's not a great bet, but
Okay.
yeah, why it's so popular, I don't know. They haven't. They're not putting more tables in, but it's making a ton more money, and
So are
blackjack
they
is just falling.
are they just raising the limit on this game, or?
But again, it's one of those low house edge games where even if it is $100, you win a couple hands, you lose a couple hands. It's
Okay.
pretty break even game, right?
Right.
For the player, and you can kind of play there a long time, even with a higher limit. So unless you get a bad swing.
And is this revenue, or this is
I'm back
revenue
on just
coming in?
the game tables. So
Game
they haven't
tables,
really
okay.
increased the floor space for the game. It's
Mhm.
it just makes a ton more money. And then blackjack is, so if anything, we've learned, no, craps is not dying. It's actually hanging in there.
Yeah.
Blackjack seems to be dying. It used to be 80% of the tables. Now it's 50. It used to make 50% of the money. Now it's not. It's making like under 40% and has been passed by Baccarat. So I don't know. Seems like, and then if you look at the numbers, I mean, they have so many tables. They have over 1,000 blackjack tables making 28% of money. Maybe they should pull off some blackjack tables and put in some more craps tables. Same with roulette. It's 12% of the tables, but it's only bringing in 10% of the revenue. Maybe get rid of a couple roulette tables and add Baccarat.
Yeah, and I did see one of the comments here just popped up, and so there's not, when they went to that 6-5 blackjack, and I'm not a blackjack player, but I know enough about it that you should not be playing at a 6-5 table.
Yeah, historically it was 3-2, and now they just making it 6-5, and just, I mean, it's bad for the player, but maybe they saw, hey, we're losing more and more money. Let's cheat the player even more, take more of their money. But I don't know. It doesn't appear to be working. It's not attracting more players to the game. It's still not it's not making as much money as it used to. So,
and I saw another
one
that just popped up here. And I know we were going to do comments at the end, but this one, let's see, can I make this one show? It said, Rel said, blackjack is dying because you can't count cards anymore. So I guess with all the YouTube videos, everybody learned how to count cards, and they're backing everybody off.
Well, yeah. Well, you certainly can count cards. It's still a thing, but the problem is they've changed the game to 6-5. And the biggest thing is they now have, you could do that with a deck of cards. What you do is, if you go through the deck of cards, half of it's gone, you've counted the cards, approximately what's left in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now they have these shufflers that just every hand it shuffles them. So there's no way you can't count them because it just shuffles them again. And so there's no way to have a count if they keep just reshuffling all the cards after every hand. And so at that point, counting cards becomes pointless. And yeah, that might be a big part of it. I don't know how many people were doing counting cards. I guess that book that basically explained the math and broke it down for players came out in the 50s. So everyone wanted to beat the casinos, whether they were doing it or not. I guess probably a large percentage were trying for sure. And that's why the game's so popular. But part of that is marketing, right? I mean, so what do you think they need to do or have done, or what's missing as far as marketing for the game of craps? Because it's hanging in there. It used to be, more table space.
I know they're making
more money now, but
They appear to be making more money now. I know they identify who the craps players are and they go after them, which I'm sure they're doing the same thing with the slots and everything else as far as the comps. But as a craps player, the offers that I get for what I consider myself to be a very low roller player, they're incredible.
Yeah, I know. I think
And
you shared one with me here.
yeah, I mean, this is, again, I go on here, very low money, low role player, and I get these
Complimentary ocean
interior
view
room
for 2 players plus
Mhm.
$50 free play.
Yeah, and I've gotten some much higher than that. I think it just depends on the season, and they're trying to fill up different cruises. And if you're flexible enough with your time, you can get some really good long cruises, 9-day cruises, 10-day cruises for free. So I think they do a good job on that side of the fence as far as the marketing and things. But um, I don't know what else that they're really doing as far as identifying and training people. I know the
Right,
casinos
because
this
what
morning.
you're saying
Yeah,
essentially, once they're in the game, they've tracked you, they know you're spending money on the game. Hey, here's some more hotel offers or free play or cruiser or whatever to come back to the game. But how do you get them there in the first place?
right. I don't know.
It's not like you see billboards or commercials like, hey, come play. And maybe honestly, I'm ignorant on this, but maybe there's laws that say you can't, there used to be laws that you couldn't advertise pharmaceutical drugs, and that went away, and now you can, and now that's all you see is right, drug companies promoting on commercials. But maybe there is a law that says you can't advertise gambling. I don't know. I will admit to being ignorant on that. But it
Yeah.
seems like, it's not like there's billboard. They're definitely promoting, Bruno Mars and these entertainers and stuff, but not like the games themselves. Not come play, come learn. I guess,
I
what
see
do we have? You
billboards
have
driving around from time to time saying, "Hey, come here," or best luck and things like that. But you're right. I don't know if I necessarily see things like, "Hey, come to our casino because we pay the best odds, or we pay 10 times odds, or whatever." Yeah.
what was man? They have the, what is it, the Daria nightclub, that I forget the name of the casino. They had 100 times odds, and I guess that was advertised. What was the name of that casino?
I'll have to open up a Google tab while
Yeah,
we're
no,
trying to think.
it's right there, kind of on the north mid strip. I can't believe I forgot their name, but they were kind of famous, and they did have billboards outside that said 100 times odds, and that was kind of an anomaly. So that is, I guess, a form of advertising for the game, but they have these, hey, free
Cromwell. I see
Cromwell.
it.
Thank
Yeah, I
you.
see it in the comments. Thanks,
Mhm.
Daryl. Thanks, Neo.
Yes, Cromwell. Thank
Yep.
you. So they do have, they have these, hey, here's a lesson at 11 a.m. Learn to play the game of craps. But I don't know. I mean, how would you advertise? I think they leave it up to me, right? The YouTubers or something. And I don't know how much of surely we are having somewhat of an impact, but
I think it's going to start ticking up with your YouTube channels. I think there's a new generation of people who, craps was like a World War II thing.
mhm.
The soldiers playing dice, and they all came home from the war, and maybe it continued a little bit with Vietnam. I don't know, and it moved on up, and then there was no connection with the dice, and then the technology, all the new kids coming in with the video games and everything. Maybe they just lost that. In my generation, we used to play Dungeons and
Board games a
Die,
lot. Yeah.
yeah, board games and stuff. But I don't think the younger crowd, the millennials, aren't doing that much.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't know. I mean, for me, it seems like I would have never thought, right? So I started this as a hobby. I knew it was a very niche topic, right? How many craps players can there be? And now I'm here, I'm sitting over 100,000 subscribers. I'm getting 500,000 unique people watching every month because viewers aren't necessarily subscribed. And I'm getting comments all the time. Hey, new to the game. I've been intimidated. I'm playing the game for the first time. Like, this is a daily basis of new players. So a lot of my club members are already players, existing players, and the ages skew older, but it does seem like I'm getting constantly over the, 6 years that I've been doing YouTube. There's always, like, every 2 years, there's this whole new influx of all these new viewers, with the same questions, beginner questions and new comments. They're trying to figure out the game, and they're all telling me, hey, playing it for the first time, looking forward to playing it for the first time. This game looks exciting. And so that, to me, it seems like there's potential there, and we're definitely not dying. The data says we're not. We're making more money than ever. Maybe it does come down to staffing. Obviously, my job is try to take the intimidation out of the game. It's probably the most difficult game to learn, to explain, for the dealers to deal. It takes 4 of them. All the other games can be dealt with one player that I can think of. Roulette, one player,
one dealer,
yeah. Bach, one dealer. Like, I can't think of another game. And craps, it takes 4. Unless I guess you can go.
Hey, here's something here. Let me go back up one, and it was Ellen who put this. Ellen put this on here. It says, watching Jeremy taught me how to play craps 6-7 years ago. Thanks. And then she also had another comment that came through. It said, she's usually the only girl at the table. Do you agree there's not a lot of ladies playing craps?
I'm not sure why. And I can look at my YouTube stats. I don't know how it breaks it down, but it is like 90% male versus 10% female. So, and I don't know why that is, because when I do encounter the female players, a lot of them seem to be more inclined to understand the risks of the game and seem to comprehend it a little easier than guys who are like, I don't know, I'm just going to bet all my money on a couple numbers and hope for the best. And I don't know, it seems like a lot more ladies I see kind of be more successful because they're a little more thoughtful and strategic. And I don't know, I don't see them go through their money as quickly as guy players, but they are typically, if you get a full table, there might be 1 or 2 ladies. So I don't know exactly why that is. I know for my wife, after all these years, she won't even approach the table. She won't, in my practice room or nothing. She's just like, that game is scary, and I do not even want to be near it. So I don't know what that is. I don't know why, but it's really cool to hear, a young lady saying that she's, I learned from my videos and is now playing craps. So that's cool to hear. But yeah, I can't explain the difference between male and female, whereas other games, it seems more equal for sure.
Here's another comment regarding the ages, and this is from James. He said, in his view, I guess 75% of the players are 50 or older. And I see that as a big negative for casino revenues. I think that some people, James, might argue with you because those older people have more disposable income sometimes. They don't have the young people with the kids, maybe the really young ones before they get married and start having kids, that they might have a lot of disposable income.
Yeah, I've definitely talked to game managers. They love a 50-year-old person because, like you said, they can afford to lose $1,000 a paycheck or $1,000 a month or whatever that is, where someone who's 24, especially nowadays when rents are $2,000, whatever, they just cannot come up with $1,000. They're coming to the casino with $200. Yes, they'll lose it, but you may not see them again for a month, and or longer, just because they don't have that disposable income. So we do need to replace the older people with younger, but I think that they definitely like the 50-year-old because they do have that money to lose. So, and they'll be back to lose more of it. Whereas the young people, they really don't have that money. And I think that might be why overall Vegas has shifted a little bit more towards an entertainment town than just a pure gambling town. Because of that factor.
One of the things I was going to say is, you would think all the big high tables would be in Vegas, and there are some high tables table limits when it comes to
table limits.
Yeah, when it comes to gambling. But with my little personal experience up here in National Harbor over in Maryland, just across the Potomac, they have, I want to say it's 8. I know we've got some Color Up Club members who are right now in the chat, and you can probably tell us. But I've gone up there a few times just to look, because I cannot afford to play there. Cannot afford to play there. But when you go in there and you see 5, 6, 7 tables, $50 minimum bet, and then they're moving up to $100
Pure greed. That is
Oh my
outrageous.
gosh.
And it's because they have a captive audience. And I personally, I believe in that specific area, you've got a lot of people who make a lot of income that they don't care about it. Let me just be straight. Politicians, right? They don't work for the money. They get, their minimum salary is 300,000. Hey, it's no big deal to pay $100 game. I'll just write it off, or who knows what they're doing over there. But it's not like, a blue collar guy who's working his tail off and is afraid to lose $500 because that's going to affect his life. Right. So I think that's why they could pull that off. And it's just kind of the lack of competition. Right. So in Vegas, you've got 30 casinos. The Strip, yeah, they can pull off $50, and they are on the weekend. If you're there in the weekend, it's $50 tables. But once you get further to the outsides of the table, you can get $10 in Vegas. And then, at the very end, Oyo and Circus, or, some of these places, you can get a $5 table. And it's just because they've got to do that to attract customers, because they can't say, hey, we're $50 place. We're 25. They can't charge 15. So as there's more competition, the prices drop. But yeah, I know there are isolated East Coast places that are just outrageous. $50, $100. You can make good money off a $10 table, $15 table, but no, why not? If us players are so dumb, I don't know how I'm apologizing, because they're like, well, I have no other option. I have to play 50. You do have an option. Please don't play. Just say no to 25 plus tables. It's easy for me to say because I have access to $5 tables, right? But I know it would be hard to live, but please just say no. And it's just hard to get, a whole group to band together and say just, no, we're not paying these ridiculous prices, because they would drop them if no one showed up. They would. But there's no need to now because the tables are full.
And hey, just a Craps fan, I just threw the comment up here just to offer some, I don't know, re-verification or whatever. They did have $100 tables, and they were all over the place. And I was my jaw dropped at the money being spent.
Yeah, and it was interesting because if you remember, a lot of the tables were limited. So they would, whatever they called it, social distance. And instead of 16 players, there would be maybe 6 at a table, right? So they've now lost 10 players. They got to make up the income, so they just charge them $100. Well, they know a certain percentage of players can afford that $100, so that's what they did. And unfortunately, they go, wow, we can raise our tables to 25, 50, and people keep coming. So why do we need to keep lowering them? And so they don't. So since then, they've kind of set a new low bar standard of where the prices are. And unfortunately, that eliminates a lot of newer players, because
the younger player, exactly.
It's not a one bet thing. It's not like Blackjack where it's $25 on one bet. To really play the game of craps, you certainly could, but you bet on 3 or 4 numbers. That's kind of the game. So you're looking at $100 every roll. To play that, you need to bring $1,000. That has eliminated $200 players.
A lot of people.
Yeah. Hey, so that is a part. So we're talking about marketing. That's like an anti-marketing thing.
Exactly. And then in Crapstan says occasionally you can find $15 on a weekday morning. And here's and I'm not putting this up because of the super chat, because he's our buddy, Holy Roller Brian. But he says the only 2 things that would kill craps game is the higher table minimums and mean, rude players and dealers, which that very well could be another podcast episode about player types and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that would be a great topic to get into that, because when you do decide to play the game, it's all about the experience, right? So everyone knows, like, all the cheers come from the craps table. Everyone kind of wins and loses together for the most part. It's the most exciting game. And but then you got some old surly dealers and it ruins your experience. You got some mean players, it ruins your experience. So this game is an entertainment game. It's got to be fun. It's got to be entertainment. And a lot of that is because you're crammed around this table playing with other people. So yeah, that's going to make or break it for you as a player. Can you imagine if your first experience, you're at a $25 table, the dealer's like, what do you want? He's some grouchy guy. Right. And then you got this guy next to you, like, cussing at you because you don't know what the bet pays and you're taking too long or what, who knows, whatever, because he's been playing for 20 years and you're like, I don't know, it's my first time. Like, they're never coming back. They're
Right.
never coming back. And we've lost, another player. And, and the casino's like, well, we're the players. We'll lower the game. I don't, man, it seems like there's so many negatives that could hurt this game, and we're still making it. So I could say we're not dying, I guess, but man, it seems like there's a lot of negative aspects that could hurt us, and we're surviving. But I would love to see this game grow and thrive. But it seems like casinos shoots themselves in the foot sometimes.
Yeah, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, maybe, or 2 steps back, 1 step forward. And hey, I did see one, and maybe this could be for the after party thing, but we did have somebody said asking about DiceCon and Doctor Options. That is for our Color Up Club members, and you're more than welcome to
go to my website.
Yeah.
You could join the club. Once you're in the club, I'll send you information about DiceCon. That's just a convention I hold for my members only, where we get together as fans of the club. So that's how you could do that. And it'll be quick, because if you're members out there, you know who you are. You haven't got a ticket yet. June 6th is the deadline. So hop on that. But I think we should wrap this up. I think we've decided we're not really doing much to market. I'm doing the best I can out here, and it seems like the game's going in a positive way. It seems like the casino's trying to hurt the game by raising prices and doing whatever they can, but they definitely aren't marketing it in any way.
No.
So,
no, they're not doing it. But I gotta believe you and all the crop of YouTubers.
It's been amazing. Like when I started, there was like 5-10 channels. Some of them were casino channels, and now there's I counted, there was like 200 craps channels. Amazing. I love that everyone's out there, sharing things and playing the game, or just turning the camera on and practicing. It's all great, and it helps. But it seems like the casino could do something. I don't know what that is. I don't have the answers, but it seems like they could do something more.
Maybe they need to have you like shoot live videos there.
Well, that's part of it. Like I beg and beat down their doors. Hey, let me show this as a sport like poker. Let me in there with the cameras live every Tuesday night. We'll fill up the tables on Tuesday night for one, and then everyone's going to be like, "Wow, check it out. Let's go to that casino and play." But I don't know, these marketing directors and stuff. I don't know if they have the vision. So hopefully Sports Grid is going to help. They say we're working on it. Hopefully they can help me get into this area. But
don't forget, you're powered by
Sports Grid. Yeah. So, and that's part of it, is they're like, they have connections. So hopefully we can get into some casinos and get some live craps going. Cause I think that could be the next step in growing this game. We certainly have people out there. There's other great channels that are getting to film, and they're on private tables and stuff like that. But I think it needs to be, hey, live sessions, cameras are live. This is what's happening at this casino. And we'll go from there. But let's wrap this up. But don't go anywhere. If you're a YouTube viewer, we have so many comments. I'm going to stick around, answer as many questions as I can, and have fun with you. But let's wrap this up. Jim, any last thoughts on this?
No, I think it was a big tease about it dying, but you can definitely see
it's a little bit of a clickbait thing.
But hey, that's the business that you're in, right?
Mm-hmm. So. Revenue's up. Table count is up a little bit. I don't know where it was from the 50s. Jim can't give me a first-hand account, but I think the game is definitely hanging in there. It's doing just as well, if not better, than some of the other games, except for Baccarat for some reason. I can't explain that one, but maybe someone in the comments can. But whatever game you like to play, until next time, good luck on coloring up. All right. What do you say we get to some of these comments?
Yeah, there were a few that I'm just going to go back up to the top there and just scroll down a little bit and see. And a lot of them were.
I'll start at the bottom and we'll go.
Yeah, we'll do that. And then we'll meet in the middle. Let's see. So robot, let's see this one.
Would love some live sessions with insights into betting strategy real time. Yeah, that's something I would love to do, is have people playing live. Then I don't know if I'm the best one at it, but people explaining what they're doing, live commentary, just like any other sport. It'd be great.
Let's see. This is one here by Rel. technology will make gambling obsolete. A pill will be administered to the gambler that mimics the gambling high. Casinos monopoly with this pill. All right, so that's kind of a
That's very like
matrixy kind of thing, or
yeah,
something.
very futuristic stuff.
Yeah.
I think why the game is still alive and has not died is the fact that it is a hands-on experience game. You get to grab the dice, you get to roll the dice, you get to, play with the chips. We have electronic craps. We have roll to win craps where it's pretty much been digitized and they have a place. But people were like, oh my gosh, once those came in, all the real tables are going to go away because, it only takes one dealer or it's no dealers. That's just not the case. And that is because people want that physical. It's like books. Why haven't books gone away? You can get them on your phone, your iPad, but us organic human beings need a physical thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of bookstores have gone away and there's only a couple left, but the book itself has not gone away because there is a percentage that us organic people need to feel something organic. And so I think that's a big part of this game.
Other thing with that, Jeremy, would be the social aspect of the game. I
Yeah.
think everybody's rooting and yelling all together. If you're going up and down, you're an individual, you're at a slot machine, but the thrill of everybody else rooting and hooting and
Or if
hollering.
you're online, right, you can play 25-cent craps and yeah, it's great. Hey, I just hit the hard way. And you look around like you're by yourself, but you hit a hard way after someone at the other table is yelling out, hard 10, and a couple other players, yeah, me too, hard 10. And then it rolls and you hear like 10 people go,
losing their mind.
It's a big part of the game. So obviously matrix wise, yeah, surely they can, duplicate the endorphins or whatever it is that makes us gamblers. But yeah, right now I think that's the appeal to the game, and why it hasn't died is because of that social aspect and that organic part of the game.
There was a couple, three that
James said, you should be sponsored. It's in the works. Hopefully Sports Grid is finding me some sponsors. So
yeah,
I should be sponsored.
There was one that was talking about crapsless craps, and I need to find that comment. And it is a variation. A lot of people thought that crapsless craps was going to like knock out craps, and I don't know how many of those tables in the numbers, are crapsless tables, but it definitely hasn't taken out the regular tables. It's still
Brandon says he loves the color
game.
videos. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, crapless craps have been around a long time. It was invented by Bob Stupak, I believe, from what is now the Strat. He started, so I think it was 80s, 70s. It's been around a long time, and it got popular in the last few years. I think in the Midwest, it's really popular, like Biloxi and all that. But I think I was in St. Louis once, and the casino had like 3 crapless tables and 2 regular tables. So it is a thing. I don't know how big of a thing it is. I don't know overall as far as table counts.
Okay, let's see. Daryl,
lazy dealers that don't like to pay off the $72 hit on the 6 and 8. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's all kinds of, you hit a good dealer and they don't care, and some people are like, dealers can make or break your experience for sure.
Let's see.
I got Ellen. Oh, this is the young lady from before. I've taught her well. I don't play on the strip anymore. We always rent a car and go off strip to play craps. Great idea.
Okay. Now, here's one here, and I guess when we were talking about the money for the news, and if you cash in less than $10,000, they won't ask for an ID info, nothing to chance. Yes, I do believe the government scans information. I've had them on wins, significantly less. They want to either have my card or an ID.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's a requirement at 10, but they can do it, because I've heard reports like 2,000, 5,000, and they're like, hey, we need your information. It's for the same reason. It's not for tax purposes, but yeah. But I believe it's at 10,000 it's a requirement that they report it.
All right. I accidentally made the comment box go away. There it is. All right. I figured it out. Now I can get that one off of there.
Okay. Here, I like this
Go
one.
ahead.
Jay Camp says, people always ask me when I play craps how to play, and I want to give them an answer that makes them want to play, but I find it hard to give a simple answer. What would you say? So over the years, I've evolved because you got the basic game that's essentially, the pass line and then the point set, and that's how the game is structured. Excuse me, but I've eliminated all that. For me, if it's someone just casually asking, I'll just say, this game is super simple. You pick a number that you like, 2 through 12, you make a bet on it, and if it rolls, it wins. That's the game. I say there are a bunch of different ways to bet on those numbers, but really there's 11 numbers. You bet on one, and if it rolls, you win. That's the game in a nutshell. And I try to I find most people like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. So it's like roulette. I just pick a number, and if the ball lands on it, it wins. Like, yep, very similar. If the dice roll on the number, you win. The cool thing about this game, there's just a bunch of different ways to bet the 6. We could bet the hard 6, the lay. We could bet against the 6. We could bet the hop 6. We could bet the pass line, which becomes a 6. We could bet the field, which doesn't have a 6. So there's just a bunch of different ways. But the easiest way I've found now to people, I just tell them, pick a number, you bet on it. If it rolls, it wins. That's how easy this game is. See how fun and easy?
Yeah, well, you actually have a 4-minute video on how to play. So
yeah, that one gets a lot of comments because people are like, I'm more confused than ever, because it's really meant to be like a fast, exciting overview that get people like interested and learn more about the game. But some people are like, well, again, clickbait, right? You said I would learn the game in 4 minutes, and now I don't know the game, and I watch your video, and it's not meant to explain.
They want their 4-minute backs.
Yeah, they want the 4 minutes back, but you cannot learn the bets in 4 minutes. I'm sorry to say, but I can teach you the game in under 30 seconds, which is pick a number, bet on it. If it rolls, you win. So,
okay, here's a Deadpool fan. David says, are those stats pure man tables, or do they include the bubble games as well? I think they're just pure table games. When I was reading the study, it's a UNLV study. You can Google that, the Gaming Commission. It's UNLV table gaming study or something like that. And you can pull it up and find it. It's online. So it does not include any of the other ones on there. Let's see. People are moving to bubble craps instead of table games.
I like his screen name, Dr. Options Bubble Craps. I don't believe that's the case. I think what's happening is you're seeing the players are priced out of the $200 players now priced out. With $200, you can't stick around with the ebbs and flows of the game of craps. You're forced to the bubble craps, which are, $1, $3, $5. And, you do have the couple outliers who just like it because they can play their crazy strategies and can play for even higher amounts. But I think that's more of we've pushed the low end player to the bubble crap. It's the people who are intimidated to interact with a dealer. Hey, the bubble crap is a great option, but I don't know if it's like a mass exodus or something that's people moving to bubble craps.
Yeah. This is kind of a funny one. If you know the Templar dice codes, craps is easy.
Yeah.
I don't know what those are, but that's
the dice gods.
Funny.
I always talking about the dice gods. They're always against me for some reason. Not always, but seems like it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, what is this one here? My son says Baccarat is a moneymaker because the uber wealthy are betting thousands a deal. Yeah. I know it's really popular in Asia, East Asia, and it tends to be a high roller game, which again, it confuses me because it's such a simple, like mindless game. I don't get it, but yeah, I do know that it tends to be a high roller game.
Yeah, let me see. Here's one. Oh, go ahead.
I got one. Blue Jay says Aria has $100 minimum tables on the weekends, and they keep them generally filled with people. If they can't get it, they don't do it.
Yeah. And if they can get it, they will. Yeah. That's just amazing. And then Demon Dog, our good buddy and club member, he says, and this is another guy, and he says he discusses that Vegas is focusing on the higher level gamblers, but not too high, because if you get in that $24 million loss category, they're going to have.
Yeah, then they don't want you anymore. If you lose too much, then they're like, well, he's got to be money laundering for somehow.
Not too high.
Tom says low minimum tables are way more fun than big buy-in. So I get both ends of it. Like there are, I know of people that have means, right? They're wealthy people, and they get annoyed with the $5 player, with the piddly bets, and they've got $1,000 on the line, right? I get that. I understand that. And there are, no problem, high limit room, or there's a table dedicated to them. I get it. I have no issue with the $100 table for those that want to play it. My issue is how they squeeze out the working man and say, hey, you got to play these high level things where we can't afford it. If you only have a minimum budget, if you don't have a correct budget, you are going to lose at this game. You only stand a small chance if you can withstand the ups and downs of this game. So as you know, if you're not properly bankrolled, you have no chance essentially. So that's how they get us. So I don't mind a $100 table, but I think they're doing it. So the weird thing is a $10 table, a guy next to you could play $500 hands if he wants, but they
That's
don't.
right.
It's
but
like,
it's not the other way around though.
It's not the other way around.
Here's one here. This is like internet lore right now, and you've talked about this guy and you've mentioned him before, but I don't know if you saw this comment, but whatever happened to the road gambler? For those of you who don't know, this was a guy who would come in and he would make put bets. Basically, put bets, for lack of a better word. And a lot of people don't even know it. So if you can make a put bet, it's like you don't have to go through the whole coming up process to get to it. And he would do it with high odds, and it'd be
the only time it makes sense is if you're at essentially 10 times or higher. So he'd go to 10 times, 20 times, 100 times tables, play big dollars. He'd put a $10 bet with $1,000 in odds behind. It's very exciting to watch. And whatever happened to him, I don't know.
Okay. Well, apparently
you can only make things, but it was exciting when he was posting videos, and then
apparently you can only post them for so long.
I don't know if he ran out of money. I don't know if he got in trouble for it. I don't know the situation or pretend to know the situation, but it was exciting footage when he was around. Here's an answer. This might be the proper answer. Craps is like gasoline. If you need to play, you'll pay whatever the minimum is. And how far are you going to drive to get to the $15 table? Like for you guys in the East Coast, like, the table minimum is 25 or 50. I can't, or it's 2 hours. To me, it's just me, but I'm not an addict. So some of you guys out there are addicts.
DJs, they call them.
For me, I would save up, fly to Vegas and get lower table limits. Fly to, Black Hawk, Colorado, or Deadwood, South Dakota, or make these Biloxi where they have, you could buy the 5 and 9 and they have free buy bets and great rules. Treat it as a vacation. I mean, I'm just not going to my local casino if they're charging $25, $50. It's just not me.
Not going to happen. You can make a video in your office there. Let's see. Anything else on here? Here's a philosophical question. Is craps diminishing more amongst high rollers or low rollers? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they've instituted the bubble crap, which maybe that helps the low roller, but now all the tables are basically forcing us all to be high rollers. So I don't have the answer for that. I definitely don't know. James says, I'm guessing this is the conversation about being just bet the 6 and 8. I mean, great bets, but now you're a $25 table. You're in for $60 for one hand.
Well, he might be talking about how to explain how to play the game. Hey, just bet the 6 and 8.
Yeah,
could be that too.
Yeah, it could be that. Like that is what I say. Hey, just bet on the 6 and 8 and wait and see what happens. But if this was a question about like table limits, like even that 2 bets, right? You're at $60 or a $50 table.
How many times
120?
can you do that?
Like,
Yeah. How many times
like,
can you do that? Yeah.
right.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
I think
Anything else
you
up
already did
here?
this super chat, right?
Yeah, I did
Yeah,
Brian's.
okay.
Let's see. And this is one good point. How come the blackjack players, why do they get to sit down and all of us craps players have to stand up and all?
That is a good question. It's just, I think it's tradition. If you ask though for a chair,
Some places they will give you a chair.
they'll get you a chair. Like if
Some
you can't
places
stand,
will.
I don't know. I imagine there might be places where they say no, but from all reports I've ever heard from anyone who have a problem standing, whatever, and you want to play at a game and you're willing to bet $50 a hand, right? And we're talking $50, they'll let you pull over a chair. So ask if it's really important. But yeah, traditionally it's a stand-up game for some reason. I think because people lose their money so quick and they're gone, and they got new people, blackjack people settle in, and I don't know.
Let's see. And then this one here is a nice one. It says there is no substitute for playing on a table.
Yeah.
So I agree. I've tried the bubbles craps, and it's just not as exciting, and it's not the same game. Even the roll to win. It is not the camaraderie. It's not the excitement. You're not holding the chips. It's just a different experience altogether.
I agree. It has its place, but that's usually when I only have $50.
I just thought of an analogy. It's like one of those virtual roller coasters versus a real roller coaster.
Yeah.
It's nothing like the wind in your face and all that kind of stuff. So, well, let's see. Go ahead.
Cajun craps, $100 tables are fine as long as you've got a $10 open table too. The problem is some places, it's rare. Like I know in Reno, we've got a pretty good situation here. I know usually all the games are $10 games. On the weekends, yes. Excuse me, they'll be $25, $50, but and sorry if your work schedule is such that you can't make a weekday game or morning game, but they are available. And then even the Peppermill is now running dynamic pricing, which I love. Table's empty, $3 game. A couple people join, it's a $5 game in the mornings, and then the afternoon will go to 10. Like they got all the options. And then like at the GSR, it was like $1 bubble craps, $5 roll to win, $10 real table, $25 real table. So you can find your spot.
It's tiered. It's tiered. Yeah.
I like that, and I wish more casinos would kind of do that.
Yeah, here's one here, a little shout out to our upcoming. This is the tennis coach saying, dealers definitely make the experience. Crap dealers at Ellis Island and Vegas are the best. I played there a couple times, and we'll be playing back at Ellis Island, and I thought they were a good bunch of folks, and
they're one of those casinos that they got to compete, right? So they offer a 24-hour $5 game, and they'll offer $10 because that one fills up quickly, obviously. But they're trying to cater and bring people in, and they're trying to deal the best they can. Great thing about them, and one of the reasons is you get good customer services. All their dealers keep their own tips, so most are like either shift based or the floor
shared.
You're going to share with the blackjack dealer and the 3-card poker player dealer. But at Ellis Island, if that guy is dealing you at the dice and you tip, that goes directly in his pocket. So that's a big advantage for them, good or bad, right? If you're if the players are tipping. So, but it is certainly an incentive for them to give you good customer service.
Here we go. This is Ellen again checking in, and she says, when you play, how do you play and what strategy? So when you're not on the cruise, Jeremy, and you're trying to prepay a cruise.
The cruise is totally different.
Different game.
Usually I do more hedging. It's more about large bets and time at the table. So it's a whole different mindset, but it kind of applies the same way when I'm playing. I rarely just go to the casino and play by myself. It's not really a thing by myself. I'll do it sometimes as like research or go try this $3 game that I heard about at Peppermill, right? But my kind of general game theory is start small as I can. Minimum bets, couple bets. If recoup my money, so let's say I'm $30 out there on the table, get that $30 back as quick as possible, collect it, and then be aggressive, press my bets, and try to win with profit. So that's just how I play. So I mix it up all the time. Sometimes I'll just bet the inside numbers. Sometimes I'll do a pass line in 6 and 8. I'll mix it up, certainly, or try different strategies or don't. But my general theory is keep it very small, try to get that money back. And then once I have a little bit of profit, I'll use that money to try to make money. Because the only way you're going to win big is if you bet big. But I'm not going to start big with my money from my pocket that I worked hard for. So I start as small as possible. Hopefully I can get some wins. And then usually when I'm playing with groups, I'll play a strategy that is, again, more, not necessarily hedging, but it's these strategies where you're like the 6 and 8 and 2 comebacks, or like a pass and then a don't pass. And like, I'm just spinning my wheels for time at the table so I can play with Jim and some of the other group for 2 hours with only $200 at risk, right? I don't want to play aggressive and then I get 3 bad rolls and I'm out of money and now I'm just standing there
you're
watching.
Gone. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just kind of depends who I'm with. But my general philosophy on it is start small, recoup, and then go for
and we made
bigger bets.
I know you made Ryan. Yeah. We made mention to when we were talking about how to market the game of craps, and you said there's people who get
he's
out
one
there.
Of the channels that's doing a great job of filming inside the casinos and
with
showing
real money, real lifetime bets with people right there. And I think it's amazing that he's able to do that, and he's obviously quite the personality and quite the salesman because he does it all the time.
One day I will be able to place live bets from my living room on my big screen TV. I actually believe that is a thing and will be a thing. When I was in Vegas 2 weeks ago, they were installing all the cameras on the roulette tables. So live roulette table, installing. I know there was an overhead and there was one on the wheel. Well, there was like 2 different angles on the wheel, and they're doing that so you can bet live roulette table through BetMGM app.
Oh, wow.
So
do you have to be in the casino to do it? You can be anywhere.
I don't know like the jurisdiction, but they were just now installing the cameras and setting up so people can bet remotely on a real MGM grand table. So once they figure out, how to do that for craps, it's just a matter of time. But yeah, you will be able to do that from home, no doubt about it.
Because they don't want you to get up from the slot machine, so you can just keep pressing the button.
Yeah, you can stay at the slot machine, and it's like those. You've been at those machines where you can like play roulette, blackjack, and craps all at the same.
Yeah.
And you just flip through the screens and like that real degenerate mode there.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. Let's see if anything else is out here.
Daryl said nothing wrong with a pass line with single or double odds. Yeah, that's true, and it's a great bet, low house edge bet. The problem is if you're at $25 table, double odds, you're $75 a hand. Come on. But as far as like a new player or something, usually it just comes down to boredom. And I always teach players, hey, new players, just make 1 bet, 2 bets max, and just watch the table, see how it goes. There's, you don't need to be that player that bets all the numbers and hops, a couple of numbers in some hard ways and the horn bets. No, just get comfortable with 1 or 2 bets. And really, that's probably your best bet. No pun intended there, but just focus on the 1 bet, and it's either going to win or lose. And you're either going to make money or you're not. And the only thing you're doing by betting more numbers is increasing your volatility. You can win more, but you can also lose more. So there's certainly wrong with 1 bet at a time.
Here's one here, and this is one of the nice things about this podcast and YouTube channel interaction is, what are your thoughts on these iCasino crap games? What do you know about them? Is that something that you're into, or what are your thoughts on that?
As far as I know, there are none that are regulated in the US. So, which means you're always paying offshore. And I know there's some that exist that, they all tout how reliable are. They promise to pay you your money back, But if there's any dispute, they don't have to, and they're not regulated by the U.S. Rules and stuff. So as far as I know, there aren't any that fall under U.S. jurisdiction. They're all offshore. And for me in Nevada, I just can't even access them. I can with a VPN, but they're literally blocked through my IP address in the state of Nevada. There's nowhere I could play legally online except for worldseriesofpoker.com for poker.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do any other gambling.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know. So I haven't played these because I'm not going to skirt around those and I just haven't got into it. I don't have an answer for you. I don't know.
Okay.
It's probably the wave of the future, but yeah, I don't know.
Let's see. Craps. And here's James again. He said, Craps is so random. 1 come out 7 in 3 hours last night. Yeah.
It happens, I guess.
Yeah. Well, what do you say? The more you stay at the table, what's random and whatever, the more
you're going to see you're going to see the
extraordinary,
crazy, the impossible happens.
Yeah.
I appreciate you and your content. I saw my buddy play craps last year and it was a wild night in Vegas, but I've never played it myself. But with your videos, I'm tempted to try it soon. Give it a try. Like I said, just keep it simple. Hey, like the guy said before, just make one bet, watch it. Where does the dealer put it? Watch it move around the table. Watch how the flow of the table is. Just get comfortable with one bet. It's a fun game. And you'll find that even at a higher limit, let's say it's a $15 table, you can make one pass line bet and get some enjoyment out of the game. Learn that, hey, it's a pass line bet. I'm a 2-1 favorite on the first roll. And then it's going to go to a number. Now I'm just rooting for that number. And there might be 30 rolls before that bet wins or loses. So you can get some pretty good time at table with just one bet. And you'll find it's a fun game. The people around you having a blast, betting more bets. And before you know it, you'll be a craps player.
Yeah, the learning curve isn't that high. And it just with a little bit of time, either with a video or some people, like Jeremy said, the books, and I always have some props ready handy, but you can get books still, and you could just
everyone's
sit
a
down
little
at your
different.
place.
So some people, it's it's a little more intimidating. Some people just walk up to the table and be like, "Here's $100, let's go, woo!" That's not my personality, but there certainly are people, and other people are like, "What do I do here? I want to know all the rules." So whatever your comfort level is, enter the game that way, and go from there.
And the other thing with L on your webpage, do you still have that series of videos that are all together? Maybe that's
free beginner course. It walks you through all the different bets real slow. It's nothing like the learn in 4 minutes, which is kind of a joke. It's significant time explaining it nice and slow and easy for beginners. It's completely free. I would definitely start there on my website, colorup.club. Get that free beginners course. You just have to put in your email and it'll be sent to you. I don't know. It's like 14, 15 videos, but it just breaks the game down step by step. So a lot more comments. I think we need to wrap this up.
Yeah.
But we've answered a bunch.
Yeah, I think we did pretty good on this thing. So yeah, thanks a lot, Jeremy, for getting this one together. And I like the idea of having like the post-party after show.
Yeah, I just felt bad not getting to. We have so many great viewers and comments and stuff. I want to get to as many as I can. So this is kind of a great option to answer some of y'all's questions. And it may or may not be cut out of the pod when it releases as an official podcast, but at least we're getting answered here now. And,
and they're here right now.
A great answer. It may make it. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think I think
fun
it's
answering them.
Awesome that you're able to do this because, like I mentioned to you before, a lot of times on your videos, after you post a video, maybe people ask about a strategy or something, and you can respond, and then months later, people are putting comments. You can't go back to every video several months later. So,
learning curve is not high; it's the greed and action curve that becomes. Yeah, because we would be better off as players just making one bet and waiting for it to resolve. But we get greedy. We're like, wow, that one won. If one bet could win, what could 5 bets do?
All the box numbers, get them all.
Yeah.
Get them all.
All right, Jim. Well,
thanks a lot
for joining me this week, and We don't really have a way to sign off for the after party, but I appreciate you
No.
guys. The comments are still coming. We can't get to them all, but this was a fun time, and we'll be back next week though to answer more questions. Have another great podcast for you, we hope. So see you
All
next
right.
week, Jim.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Jeremy.